Previously on Unscripted.
Of course, you know me, right? I'm not just going to lie down and take this. I call them.
Yeah, you're their worst nightmare.
You're listening to Unscripted with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip. So today we're going to talk about Season 3 of White Lotus. But before we get to that, I know that everyone is eager to hear what happened with my insurance fiasco.
I can't wait to hear.
So as you recall, the person that I spoke to at TD Insurance said she was going to escalate this to level 2, even though I told her to escalate it to level 10, but whatever.
How many levels are there? Do you know?
I think there are only 2. So I actually did get a call back from the level 2 person. His name is Nick. Now, I feel bad for Nick because if Nick is calling you, he knows that you're pissed because he only deals with people who are pissed off all day long, every day.
Bad situation. That's not a fun job.
No, it's not. So Nick calls me, and so I'm already laughing before we even start our conversation. And I say, okay, Nick, so do I have to tell you the whole story all over again? Or you know, are you up to speed on what's going on here? And I think he said he was up to speed, but I did rehash a bit of the story. So I don't know how much I already told you because I've told the story to so many people. So if I'm repeating myself, just let me know. But I said to him that it was completely ridiculous and insulting that my insurance would go up from $440 to $840, especially considering I haven't made any claims. I don't have a big place. I don't have any expensive stuff. And I've been a loyal customer for over a decade. But no one cares about that.
All good reasons, though.
No one cares about that. So then he tries to explain it to me. And so, you know, there's been a lot of disasters in Alberta and in Nova Scotia. And so a lot of people have been making claims. And when you and I and everyone pays into insurance, let's say there's 1 million people paying into insurance. And let's say about 1,000 of those actually make claims. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I'm just making up numbers now. So when someone makes a claim, you know, they take money from their pool of money that they have to pay for these damages. And because of all these disasters, natural disasters that have happened lately in Alberta and Nova Scotia, there have been more claims. So they've been using more money. So their pool of money is shrinking. It's definitely not zero because they never get down to zero, but it's shrinking. And so this is why they need to increase my premium.
My answer to that would be, that's not my problem.
That's exactly what I said. That's not my problem. And actually,
that's a you problem.
Right.
Right?
He even said, before I could even get the words out of my mouth, he's like, I know that's not your problem. I know that's probably what you're thinking. And I said, you're right. It's not my problem. So we go back and forth. And I told him at the beginning of the conversation, I'm like, you can say what you want. I'm switching insurance companies. And I don't think TD even cares. Like I told him, I don't want my insurance renewed on the day that it expires because it automatically renews if you don't do anything. So he's like, okay, would you like me to do that for you now so that you don't have to call back? And I can make sure that at the day that it expires, it won't renew. I said, okay. I told him, no, don't do that yet. And then he says, there's one thing I can do. Like can do. He can't really do anything, but he's like, I'm going to put in a ticket to the actuary people. They're the ones who determine the rates. And I can call you back and let you know what they say to see if there was maybe a mistake with your policy.
Okay. I
said, okay, fine, whatever. So he calls me back a week later.
Oh, God.
After
okay.
I don't know if he actually spoke to the actuaries or whatever. And so again, you know, as soon as I hear his voice, I'm laughing and I'm like, okay, Nick, what do you have for me today? And so he tells me that he did speak to the actuary department and my policy is correct. There is no mistake. And he says that increases can be from anywhere between 70 to 80%. I said to him, well, you should tell the actuaries who should know how to do math that the difference between $440 and $840 is more than 80%. Then I said to him, you know what I did, Nick, since I spoke to you a week ago? you can go to any insurance company website and get a quote, which I did for like 6 different insurance companies. And then I decided to do it for TD as if I was not a TD customer.
Oh, God.
You know, I still put in my same age and my same address because those are the things they use to factor in what your premium is. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, when I got an online quote from TD, it was lower than what they're charging me or what they want to charge me for this coming year. So then I said this to him and he's like, well, we recommend that existing customers don't do that because when you do the online quote, they're factoring in certain discounts that you as an existing customer is not eligible for. And I said,
of course.
Well, why am I not eligible for those discounts if I'm an existing customer? And, you know, I don't remember his answer. He may not have even given an answer, whatever.
I mean, that's like that in every industry, right? Like the only way to lower your phone bill, your cable bill, a lot of stuff is just change carriers or change services and right?
Which some people do every year.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I said, look, I appreciate you calling me back. I do want you to put the wheels in motion so that my policy does not automatically get renewed on June 8th. So he said he would do that. And I said, look, I don't know if TD cares that they're losing customers, but they're losing a customer. So now instead of 1 million customers, they'll have one less, but whatever. And that was basically that.
Good for you. I mean, you stood your ground and told the truth, and like that's all you can do. The only thing the consumer can do is speak with your dollars. And if you're not happy with the situation, you speak with the power of you being the consumer, and you have the right to go shop around, and that's what you did. So did you sign up with any new company or? Not
yet. I did sort of threaten him. You know, these shows where they uncover all these scams that are going on.
Yeah.
I said, I can go to one of these shows and tell them exactly what happened to me, and it's going to make you, not you personally, but your company look really bad.
I don't think they care.
No, they don't.
No.
So, having said all that, do we have any listener mail?
Mailbag.
Yes, the mailbag is full.
Which is interesting because there's going to be a postal strike, so I don't know how you got so much mail, but go on.
Most of it is about our topic from last week, which is bands we miss. Diane, who I am related to by marriage, said that Prince and George Michael are good artists that she misses.
Those are good ones.
Yeah. Jason from Montreal. Here are some in no particular order. Supertramp, Talking Heads, and he put in brackets, okay, this is number 1, after he said it's in no particular order. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and the Traveling Wilburys. I kind of disagree with that, because Traveling Wilburys, they had one great album. They had a decent second album, but I think they did exactly what they should have done. I don't know how much more we needed of them, but
I think David Byrne has a solo career.
I think he does, yes. Yeah. Jeff from California. Bands I wish I could have seen live, but I can't. So he sort of altered our topic, but more or less the same thing. Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, Pink Floyd together, Sublime, and Supertramp. I like how we threw in all this classic rock and also Sublime.
Yeah, how does Sublime get into that list?
Derek from Montreal, bands we miss. Surprised Aerosmith didn't make it onto anyone's list, and he put laughing emojis. That was just a total sarcasm by Derek because he knows how much I can't stand Aerosmith. But I'm gonna read you what he wrote to me word for word. I'm not gonna paraphrase or anything. Don't get me started on pickleball. But now that you did, first, as a recreational tennis player, it has never been so hard to find an open court. The struggle is real. But beyond that, if it's a sport that is meant to be played in 2s or 4s, then why do they need 14 people in their entourage standing around chatting and staying on the courts? And then they all take turns playing so no one ever gets tired, which means they never leave. And come on, how come nobody seems to know the rules? All they ever do is argue about the serving, the scoring system, the kitchen. Oh, and the worst part, of course, is the thwack, 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 the constant thwacking.
You should hear because I know a lot of tennis people because I play tennis. You should hear how they complain about pickleball and pickleball players. It's it's exactly what Derek just said, multiplied by 10.
Yeah. And then finally, Mark from Philadelphia.
Did you watch that documentary that I sent you?
Oh, I did. Yes, it was quite interesting.
Okay.
It was quite interesting. Like they literally like damage the courts so that they can't play. But like, how does that? I mean, it's beyond crazy, right? Mark from Philadelphia. Bands we miss. He mentioned the Beatles and Fleetwood Mac. But he did have a note specifically for you, Josh. Because he said it was crazy timing because he listened to our podcast and then literally that same day he heard either a commercial on the radio or something online. He saw an ad. Men at Work are on tour.
Oh my goodness. I have to eliminate them from my list.
They are on a tour with Toto and Christopher Cross, all three.
Okay.
And if you really want to go see Men at Work, I looked up the tour website. They are coming to the Niagara Falls on the New York side, though, on August 2nd. So you can go see them in your neck of the woods on August 2nd.
Except,
if you like
who's in Men at Work? I can't. It's not the same people that were in Men at Work in the 80s.
No, maybe it's just Colin Hay and a bunch of guys.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, so I thought I left the best one for last because, like, when Mark sent me the link that Men at Work were on tour, I was like, "Oh, this is too much."
I think I already told you that the Goo Goo Dolls and the Gin Blossoms are both coming to Toronto this summer. I think I told you that.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we'll be right back after this to talk about season 3 of The White Lotus.
You're listening to Unscripted.
I'm Joseph DeMedictis.
And I'm Ross Citrulo.
And we're doing this podcast so we don't have to go home and get a real job.
Exactly.
That's right. And we're doing it to tell you about our pursuit of the dreams we've had since being a kid, being young, trying to get into the entertainment industry. Us, we're mid-career, sort of. We're kind of halfway broken in a way. But we both have these big dreams and big goals.
Aspirations, really.
For our careers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. This podcast is about the journey through the industry, trying to make it, but trying not to have to give up.
So listen to our podcast on all the places you might listen to a podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have our own YouTube channel where you can watch the video version. All the links can be found at you'llnevermakeit.ca. Here's hoping we do.
And now, back to Unscripted.
Okay, Skip, we're back.
So, The White Lotus Season 3. This is a show that we both really enjoy. We've done episodes on Season 1 and Season 2, so it's only natural, like Season 3, we're going to do a little recap. And it's a really popular show. Like, this is the kind of show, I mean, you're not on social media that much, Josh, but, like, this show is really out there. Like, it's in people's minds. People are talking about it. It's really, like, captures a lot of people's attention. I'm just going to say that we're going to have all spoilers from this point on, so in case you haven't seen the show. Overall, season 3, I'm going to just give you my overall perspective right away. I did enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Go ahead.
I was going to say, before you give your overall opinion, I'm just very happy that we're doing this episode because I watched the show before you, which is rare because you almost always watch a show before me. And so
it's rare. It is rare.
And so I couldn't say anything to you after or during while I was watching it because I didn't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
And then you had heard something about a certain episode, even though you hadn't watched it yet, and you asked me about it. I'm like, well, I can't answer your question because you haven't watched it yet.
You know, it's very interesting that you say all that because I hesitated to watch season 3 because, like, I saw the trailers and I looked at it and I was like, am I gonna like this? Like, I wasn't so enthusiastic about sitting down and watching it. And then when I did, I actually liked the show more than I thought I would. And actually it was different than what I had heard because, like, I had heard from other people and what I had read mostly on Twitter and stuff like this is that the show is, like, a little bit boring, but the final episode is, like, incredible and it's like a revelation. And I thought it was the opposite. I actually liked the whole show and I didn't really care for the last episode. I was like, I almost didn't like it that much, you know? So I don't know if you have the same perspective, but like I thought it was a really good season. It really kept my attention. I was kind of riveted like on the stories. I mean, you know, this show does a great job because it's all about the characters, right? It's just like you really get to know the characters. It's like a slow burn, right? Like nothing happens too quickly. I mean, you know something's happening. They tell you from the first minute that there's a shooting, right? But then you just then you spend the next 8 episodes, 7 episodes wondering like who got shot, right? So that's kind of fun, you know, I guess as a viewer, you know. But what do you think? Did you like it more? I don't know. I don't have an opinion really if I liked it more or less than the other seasons. Kind of liked it the same, I guess. I just didn't like how it was more violent. You know, like season 1, the death was like accidental, sort of.
Yes, exactly.
And season 2, yes, he was trying to kill his wife. Like we know that there was a plot to kill her, but like her actual death was basically she slipped and fell, right? And then season 3, all of a sudden we have like a mass casualty event, you know, like with a shooting. Like I thought it was like too violent for me. The end, all like it turned into a shootout, and I didn't really care for that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens in the last episode, and I agree. Like prior to the last episode, things happened very slowly. In fact, there was one episode, I don't remember which one it was. I thought they could have eliminated the episode completely because nothing happened.
Right. Right.
I mean, I did not like season 3. First of all, season 2 was my favorite of the 3.
Okay.
And season 3 was my least favorite of the 3.
Okay.
If I had to rank them. So there you go. So I ranked them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the show is described as a dark comedy, if I'm not mistaken. And,
It is, yeah.
And in season 2, I found myself laughing out loud a few times. But I didn't really find myself laughing at all in season 3.
I mean, there was a couple of characters that did provide a lot of the comedy moments. So like the mom, Victoria Ratliff,
she's so clueless.
She is, but she isn't. But like she gave you that comedy just because she's so clueless and her North Carolina accent, and then you know there's all these memes now with Piper No and all this stuff and Buddhism and all like making fun of her accent, which is fine. So I found she gave a lot of the comedy, but the one who was really funny was Chelsea, the British girl who is
who got bit by a snake.
Rick's girlfriend, you know?
Yes.
She is hysterical. Like it's just her whole bubbly, out there, kind of clueless but not clueless personality, and her facial expressions when she's talking to people, and like just like all her, like it's really all her facial expressions that I just found like hysterical. Like she's just so quirky and cute and weird at all the same time. It was really, really sad that like she died. Like that was terrible. You know, like of all the characters in the show, they all suck. Every single one of them is either greedy or self-absorbed, or like there's something that they make you not like about every single character except for her. She's like pure of heart, right? There's nothing she's all about like spreading the good and like being good. And then, you know, she's the one that gets killed. Well,
I think Lachlan is a nice character.
Lachlan, yes. Lachlan, he did have this crazy sexual scene, which was only described to us with his own brother. So when you say nice character, there's some darkness there. But yes.
But I mean, he was drunk and stoned. That wasn't really his fault. That's not really who he is. And even his sister Piper is actually not a bad character either.
I'll tell you why Piper is the worst.
Okay.
Piper was my favorite little mini twist of the whole season. Like honestly, one of my favorite like twists of the whole season was they present you Piper, and we're all over the place here. I love it. I love how we're all over the place. They present you Piper as this university student, American, but like who maybe doesn't like being this portrayed as this rich little girl, right? And she wants to break out on her own, and she's all about spirituality, and she wants to go live in the Buddhist temple for a year and study under the Buddhists and like learn how to like be one with the world and about herself. It's all like this pure good intention, right? And then what happens? She spends one night in the place. She doesn't like the food, and the room wasn't clean, and she comes back home crying to her mother, I can't do this because I am, in fact, the little princess, this rich little princess that everybody thinks I am. That's who I am. So I just love the fact that, like, that was my favorite little twist of the whole season, how Piper is really, like, exactly who we thought she was. You know?
So speaking of twists, there are a few twists because
tons,
at the beginning of this season, Belinda, she's also similar. Like, she wants to open up her own spa, and then she starts to almost fall in love with this guy, and you know, she just wants, you know, niceness and goodness. And then by the end, she's telling her son, make sure you get more money out of this guy. Make sure you milk as much money from this guy as you can. And then as soon as the money's in her account, she's like, I don't care about opening up a spa. I don't care about this guy I just met. I just want to get out of here and be rich.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote exactly the same thing. You think Belinda has these good intentions, and even at the beginning, she's telling her son, no, I can't take an ounce of money from this guy. It's wrong. Right? When he offered her $100,000, it's wrong. But when he offered her $5 million, all of a sudden it was okay. Right?
And there's another twist, actually. Timothy, the dad, at the beginning, when he finds out that he could lose everything, he's like thinking of killing himself and thinking of killing his entire family by poisoning them because he doesn't want to go back to the United States to face what he's going to have to face.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he changes his mind, and as they're on their way back home, he says to the family, even though they don't know what's about to happen, he's like, things are going to change, but we're going to be okay.
Yeah, no, I actually like that little twist. I mean, he is a piece of garbage, and he's like, he was basically drugged out and drunk the entire week, right? Stealing his wife's pills and just whatever. Literally tried to kill his own family. But I think when Lachlan almost died and then was magically revived at the last second, and then when they got on the boat, and I think he realized, well, there's no turning back now. Like, this is it. Everyone's about to turn on their phones and find out what happened. And I think Saxon did know what happened. You see Saxon's face for a split second when he turns his phone on and he looks at his dad and he knows, like, something's up, right? I kind of like that, but yeah, Tim's a piece of crap, honestly. The scene with the blender really bothered me.
It bothered me too. Who doesn't rinse out a blender before making a drink?
Exactly. I mean, okay, I understand he tried to kill them and then he knocked it out of their hands and then whatever. Okay, like he didn't go through with it, right? But then the next morning, the filthy blender is there with the pina colada and the fruit mixture. And then what? Lachlan just comes and I'm like, I'm going to make a smoothie. I'm going to take this blender that's been sitting out overnight. Like, that's so stupid. Like, honestly.
Yes, agreed.
I mean, they made a point of saying that Lachlan is clueless because he asked his brother, can you make me a smoothie? And then his brother said, you're a man now. Like, when are you going to start doing stuff for yourself? Right? So, I mean, that was the foreshadowing of that he's going to use the blender. But, like, even if he's making a smoothie for himself, like, why use a dirty blender? Like, that was the one thing I was like, no, this is not good.
So going back to Chelsea for a second.
Yeah.
What is she doing with that guy?
Well, I mean, that's a theme of the show, right? Like, what is she doing with him? What is Chloe doing with Gary? And Gary, I call him Gary. Is that his name? I don't know. But
it's Greg. But Greg has money. That's why she's with Greg. But I don't know why Chelsea's with what's his name, Rick.
Yeah, I don't know. And then she
Rick
really loves him.
And Rick sounds like he doesn't even want to be with her. Like, he keeps pushing her away.
He does, but he does care about her because when she's in the burglary at the beginning, like, he rushes to her and it's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And then when she gets bit by the snake, like, again, he's very concerned about her, right? So he does have feelings for her. And then at the not at the end, at the almost end, he finally was like, admitted that he loves her, kind of, and like, let's make a life together and let's forget about all this nonsense of Thailand and the reason why they came there and everything. And then, of course, everything goes to hell and he grabs, he tries to kill the owner. But
That episode with the snakes, I did not like that episode. I knew something was going to go wrong. I could barely watch.
It was so stupid also. I didn't understand what they were doing there. But whatever. There's a lot of crazy stuff. Like the snakes I mean, the show tries to push the limit of like what they think you can watch, but like also like it pushes the limit of like the story. I mean, like the snakes is pretty extreme. We didn't see the scene with the sex scene with Saxon and Lachlan and Chloe and whoever, but like they described it and it's like holy shit, you know, like what the hell just happened here? And then also Rick's friend, played by Sam Rockwell, Frank, his buddy in Bangkok,
Right.
like this guy, like he tells him how he's addicted to everything, right? He's addicted to drugs, he's addicted to alcohol, he's addicted to women, he's addicted to men. Like he
was like he cleaned himself up.
Yeah, but at the end, when he leaves him in the hotel, he didn't clean himself up. He's like, who knows what's going on there?
No,
right?
because Rick put him back into his old self.
Yeah, he did.
Rick's
He
like,
did.
just have one drink. Come on, just have one drink. And then that led to like 1 million drinks.
And that led to like 5 girls in the hotel room.
Exactly. We were talking about Timothy and Victoria.
Yeah.
So it was very funny that one of them went to Duke and one of them went to North Carolina.
Oh,
and then they're like
that was a great-
arguing over where their kids are going to go. I mean, not the oldest kid because he's already finished school, but the other 2 kids.
Yeah. Well, Lachlan's has the pressure because he's going to break the tie.
Right.
So, and they kind of allude to the fact that, I mean, Lachlan doesn't want to go back either. He would actually stay in that temple, I think, for a year. I think he would do it, you know? Well, I mean, look, Tim asks him, could you live without money? And he says yes, right? And
I mean,
he asked,
maybe he could.
he
Who
asked his
knows?
wife, and the other 2 kids, and they both basically, the answer is no.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
I mean, the wife's answer to that question is actually pretty amazing. She's like, we have all this money. It's our purpose in life to spend it. Like, it was such a, like, kind of such a stupid thing. Like, she's so, oh, God.
We didn't talk about gay talk. The security guard.
There's a few things we didn't talk about, but yeah. I mean, Gay Talk and Mook is like a side story.
But gay talk was so frustrating to me. He's so naive. Like, what is it? In the second episode, he opens the gate and then just lets that car just go through. Like, he has one job to do. Stand at the gate and make sure people don't go, don't trespass. And he just lets the car go through. And then in a few episodes later, his boss gets him a gun and he just leaves the gun on the table and leaves the security office so that anyone can just walk in and take anything.
So bad.
Like, he was so frustrating to me, that guy.
But you asked the question before, why does Chelsea like Rick, right?
Okay.
Now, you've heard your whole life that, like, women like the bad guys. They like the bad boys, like the dangerous guys, right?
Sure. Okay.
Now, Gay Talk obviously likes Mook, right?
Yes.
Mook just sees him as a friend because Gay Talk is this really timid, nice, but really nice guy.
Yeah.
And Mook only likes Gay Talk after she sees that he was the hero and he shot the bad guy.
Exactly.
When he became like the hero and maybe a little bit dangerous because he shot someone, then she liked him.
Of course.
It was so bad. You know how famous that actress is, by the way, that plays Mook?
Yes, you were telling me.
Yeah. She is like literally one of the most famous people in the world. Like 100 million followers on social media. I read that they had to have extra security guards and all kinds of extra staff on set when she was there because like she has paparazzi and stuff following her all the time. Her name is Lisa. Her online, it's La Lisa. She's like a famous Korean, she was in a famous Korean girl band and now she's like a solo singer. So anyways.
Okay.
I thought she was good. I liked Mook. I thought it was a cute little story, but
Yeah, it was, but he just so frustrating to me. Like, he's an adult. He's not a kid. There are certain things you should just know.
yeah. So we talked about like the stories that all converge, right? Because the Ratliff family converges with the story, obviously, of Rick and Chelsea, Gary and Chloe, the same thing. And then Mook and Gay Talk obviously converges with them because Gay Talk's the one that shoots ends up being the mini hero. But we didn't talk about Lori, Kate, and Jacqueline, the 3 women on vacation together.
Right. Because there's really not much to talk about there.
No, it didn't really connect with any of the other stories at all. Like, I mean, yeah, they wanted to take a picture with her at the end, and maybe that's the circumstance how Rick was able to grab the gun, but that's just like a plot device. It's not like they weren't part of their story at all. They all hate each other but love each other all at the same time. They're so catty towards each other. I think it represents everything about like female friendship that we couldn't possibly know about that maybe is toxic. Like, it's really, they're terrible to each other in a way, you know?
And I mean, 2 of them hook up with Valentin, right?
No, only one. Lori hooks up with one of the other Russian guys.
Okay. But like, from the minute you saw Valentin the first time, like, you knew this guy was shady.
Oh no, when Valentin went out to talk to Gay Talk the minute that the gate was raised.
Yeah, you knew he was involved in that. That was all set up. That was all planned.
100%. But I did like the scene. So Lori hooks up with one of the other Russian guys, and she's at his shitty apartments, like it's like a shack.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like convince her to like give him $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, first of all, I don't know how Lori would have got out of that because maybe he's a bit dangerous. So she did get out of it because the crazy girlfriend banged on the door and she had to jump out the window and all this.
Right.
But like, there is literally no way in hell Lori was ever going to give that guy any money.
Zero chance, of course.
Because the Russian guy thought like, I'm using her, right? I'm using this woman. But she's totally using him too. Right? Like,
and she's just there for a week. She's going to leave. He's the one who's got to stay there.
Yeah. There's just no way that he was ever getting a cent. I thought it was interesting, you know? They're like very like self-absorbed. Like Jacqueline, the one who's like the TV star, she loves the attention. She loves people coming to tell her, oh, you're on TV and you're on this. And she pretends like she's like shy about it, but she loves it. She loves all the attention, you know? And then you have Kate, who is just like kind of wants to be the peacemaker. That's Leslie Bibb.
Right, yes.
I don't know. And then you have Lori, whose obviously life is in turmoil because she had a divorce. Like, they all just compare themselves to the others, right?
Right.
They're just also jealous of each other.
Yes.
But Lori did make a good speech at the end where she kind of defined their friendship, and she said how happy she was to be with them. And, you know, like, I found it nice. But like, overall, you're right. That was like the least interesting part of the show, right? Those 3. Like, I was wondering, like, where's it going with these 3? Like, how is it going to connect to the other part? You know?
Right. Well, they needed like a third group, right?
Yeah.
You can't just have 2 groups of people coming to the resort.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't talk about I didn't take notes about anything in the plot. I just literally wrote down the characters and knew that we would talk about them. We didn't really talk about Saxon Ratliff. He's just a piece of trash, honestly. Like,
by the way,
so
he looks
unlikable.
exactly like Tom Cruise. Like, the first time I saw him, I'm like, what's Tom Cruise doing on this show?
But you know that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
I know now, but I mean, the first time
Yeah.
I saw him, I'm like, this guy, like, he must get that all the time, that you look exactly like a young Tom Cruise.
But like, after he realizes like what a piece of crap he was, especially with that whole sexual escapade with Chloe and his brother, he kind of tries to like be a better person, you know, like a little bit, you know, like he's a little bit more likable in the last episode, I guess.
Well, he reads a book. Doesn't he start reading a book?
He reads a book because he realizes that like Chelsea basically tells him, you're a piece of shit. And no woman wants to hook up with you because you're a piece of shit.
Right.
So then he was like, oh, I guess I better change that. But I love the plot with Piper and how she just was a princess. But like, my favorite scene actually in the whole show is when Chloe, the next day after their drunken orgy, whatever they had, and Chloe is there at the pool with Saxon and Chelsea, and she's describing what happened. She's telling Saxon what happened, like the night before. And Chelsea is there just nodding along, saying, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like she's nodding along the whole time with these crazy facial expressions, super funny, and just like saying, yeah, that's what you did. You did it. And then, and then as soon as Saxon leaves, she looks at Chloe and she's like, what the, like she can't believe the story that Chloe just told. Like, and you realize like Chelsea had no clue. She was just playing along. It was very, very funny. Like that to me was like Chelsea to a T. She's just so funny and quirky, like she's very likable,
I wonder if any French Canadians enjoyed the show because Chloe's supposed to be French Canadian, right?
Well, she is from Montreal, that actress.
Oh, okay.
But I looked her up briefly. I do believe that she's basically been living in Paris for like most of her life, right?
Okay.
So I think she's quite well known in France as like an actress and a filmmaker. I think she's like a director herself. Anyways, I thought she was good. I thought Chloe was good.
That's fine. The whole storyline where Chloe was trying to get a guy to hook up with her so that Greg could watch them.
So ridiculous. I thought that was made up. I thought that was made up at first. And then at the end, at the very, very end, like you see like she looks at another guy. There's another guy at a party. And I'm like, oh shit, that was all true. He really does want to see her hook up with someone else. I'm like, oh my God.
I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, no, me too. Like Gary Gregg is just like a despicable guy. Like honestly, like he's. But you know what? Belinda's son makes a really good pitch. Like you think Belinda's son is just like over his head in the negotiations that they're gonna have. Like, but then he goes to him and he says, "We want $5 million." And Gary looks at him and like, "What are you, nuts?" And then he's like, I looked you up. I know your net worth, blah, blah, blah. $5 million is 1% of your fortune. You can definitely afford to give that to us. And like, I was like, oh shoot, Belinda's son, he knows like what's what, like he was like doing well, like I thought it was interesting, but it was, I mean,
and then his mom leaves the room and you think she's leaving the room because she doesn't want any part of this, but that was all a negotiation ploy.
100%. Yeah. I mean, they got their price. Like it's so, I don't know. That was frustrating because Belinda was this really likable woman. And then at the end you're like, oh, I don't know, but she got to do what you got to do for yourself. I guess if someone's going to give me $5 million and it's not going to bring back the woman who died,
And as you said a few minutes ago, her death was sort of accidental.
I mean, it actually was accidental. Like they probably could never prove anything about Greg.
Which is why he's not in jail.
Yeah. I mean, he also was not there because he ran away and changed his name. But so some of the minor characters are like little highlights of the show, right? So I mentioned Sam Rockwell, who plays Rick's buddy, who's completely nuts.
He's actually married to Leslie Bibb in real life.
Really?
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't know if they're married, but they're a couple.
You have the meditation specialist, the one who's basically like Rick's therapist. Like
she was trying her best, but like I don't know what anyone could help Rick.
Yeah, she was really trying her best. And then also the other one who was like the attendant or the one assigned to the Ratliff family, the one who's always trying to take their phones.
She was hilarious.
Like she's also really just trying her best, like imagine you're this girl, like I think she was Australian, right? And you're working at this resort and you're like trying to tell this family, like you should give me all your phones so you can disconnect for the whole week. And they're basically told her to screw off. And like, what is she going to do? Like, what can she do? Okay. Like, so, like she was good. And then also the other one who was really strange and I couldn't really figure out his purpose in the show was Fabian, the hotel manager.
Yeah, he had a very small part. Like the hotel manager in season 2 and in season 1, they're like integral parts of the show. And in this season, the hotel manager is almost nothing.
Yeah, but in this season, you had the hotel owner, right? So you had the woman, who
I guess.
I didn't love her, I didn't really love her. But I thought
was her husband actually Rick's dad? Was that true?
I think probably it is true, yeah.
And so why doesn't he say this to Rick when Rick confronts him?
Yeah, he should have confronted him when he came to see him that day.
Like,
right?
why doesn't he say, I'm actually your dad?
I think he just didn't want to know anything more about Rick. He thought, like, just get him out of my life. He didn't think he'd ever see him again. But, like, it was so obvious. When he pushed over the wheelchair and everything, I was like, but wait a minute. They still have one more day at the hotel. Like, isn't he going to get kicked out of the hotel now? Like, I didn't understand what was
Kicked out of the
happening.
hotel. I thought he was going to get killed. Which he did.
Well, I mean, he did. Yeah, he did. I mean, yeah. Like, it's just too bad that Chelsea's the one who got killed. I mean, Rick too, but he kind of deserved it. He's the one that started the whole shooting, right? And yeah, like I just didn't love the whole ending. Like, I didn't love that whole ending with the big shootout. The Belinda and her son taking off with the $5 million made me so uncomfortable. I really hated her for that. Lori, Jacqueline, and Kate, it was useless. The Ratliff family was a good story. I did like the Ratliff family.
I mean,
And then,
they
of course,
did
like-
portray their characters so well. Like, even their names,
did.
like Saxon and Lachlan.
Yeah, it was great.
Like,
It
who
was
names
great.
their kids that?
It was great, and he, like, the Duke, North Carolina for us, like, had a special meaning, it was like a little extra twist. For us, there's a couple, like, the fact that Duke, North Carolina was so, like, was like a little twist in this season was great. The fact that Chloe is from, like, Quebec, like, that was cool, right? And when he says you're French, she's like, I'm not French. What do you mean you're not French? She goes, I'm Canadian. I'm from Quebec. He didn't know, like.
Before you watched the show, you had
Yeah.
seen something on social media about how Duke was pissed off about an episode. And you
Yeah.
asked me about it. And I knew why, but I couldn't say anything to you. So now you
Yeah.
understand why Duke was pissed off. Like the school.
Yeah, they're pissed off because they have this guy who's basically a criminal wearing their T-shirt, wearing their sweatshirt, right?
Right.
Yeah. But whatever. It is the way it is.
And then I don't know, did you see SNL did a spoof on this season?
I did see it.
Yeah.
The White POTUS. It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we'll look forward to season 4.
According to IMDb, there will be a season 4.
And, there's always like one little connection to season, right? So I don't know what it's going to be. Like this time it was Belinda, who we knew from season 1. I mean, Gary Gregg has been in all the seasons, right? But
By the way, he's
I don't know.
been in 18 episodes, and no one else has been in that many episodes.
right. But like, there's no way he could be in season 4 because it's not going to be in Thailand. It'll be somewhere else.
I guess not. Yeah.
So I guess we'll see. We'll see who they'll probably bring back someone from one of the other seasons, honestly. Overall impressions, I enjoyed the season and it's worth watching. Like, did I love it? Kind of. Like, I liked it a lot. And I think, if you like season 1 and if you like season 2, you like the show, definitely you got to keep going with season 3. Like, there's no reason to stop. It's good. It had me invested and I enjoyed watching it.
I enjoyed it as well. I would recommend watching it. Again, of the 3 seasons, it's my least favorite, but that doesn't mean it's bad. So, there are some nude scenes in The White Lotus. Not just season 3,
Yes.
but in all the seasons.
Yes.
And so I read that Timothy Ratliff, the dad,
Yeah.
the scene where he's walking around naked?
Yeah, naked. Yeah.
So he revealed that they used a prosthetic penis for that nude scene.
White Lotus is famous for male nudity.
Yes,
Yeah.
because every season
Yeah,
has,
it's
I
like-
think, at least one of those.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You never watched Harry Potter, eh? You never watched any of the Harry Potter?
No, I never watched that. Why, is there nudity in that?
No. The guy who plays Tim Ratliff, he's in like every Harry Potter movie. He's like a character.
Oh, I didn't
So-
know. Okay, we'll be right back after this with some final thoughts.
You're listening to Unscripted.
Hey everyone, Skip here. I'm really excited to invite all of you to follow my new account at Skip Cooks on Instagram and TikTok. I'll be sharing my love of cooking with recipes in the form of 1-minute music videos, all set to some of my favorite songs. Don't miss out, follow me, and let's have some fun in the kitchen.
Unscripted with Skip and Josh is available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. follow the show on Twitter, and go to Facebook to like the show page. And now, some final thoughts from the guys.
All right, I have one really good final thought, Josh, that I could have included in listener mail, but I kept it for the final thoughts.
Okay.
I'll send you the link. I'll post it in the description, in the episode description.
I love when you send me
asked
links, because the last time you sent me a link, it was for that Rona commercial, which is hilarious.
There's a video going around about how they filmed the window scene in Adolescence.
Oh, I asked you about that.
Yeah, so you're not the only one asking, and there's a video going around, and it's really not as technical and complicated as you think.
I can't wait to see this. It's been killing me for weeks, months.
It's literally like there's a cameraman following the kid in the classroom. He jumps out the window, and as he's jumping out the window, there's 3 guys standing right outside the window, and they literally hand the camera to the other guys.
Okay. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
I'm making it sound like a little bit simpler than it is, but like that's basically what happens, you know? And it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I should have thought of that. So it's not a drone?
No. I guess not.
Okay. So you know how at the end of every episode you talk about shows that you're watching or that you've watched?
Yeah, I like to give some recommendations.
So I have a recommendation. I haven't finished watching the whole season yet, but this new Jon Hamm show called Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple, I love it.
I know. I heard a lot of good things about it. Isn't it like he's like a rich guy who loses all his money and he starts stealing from other people?
He loses his job. He doesn't lose all his money.
Okay.
But because he's divorced and he's paying alimony, like his money is going to run out pretty quick if he doesn't have a job, which he doesn't. So
Yeah.
he has to resort to illegal stuff.
It sounds good.
But like, as I'm watching it, and again, I haven't finished the season yet, I have a feeling that Jon Hamm, he's not really acting. I have a feeling that this is how he is in real life. And I'm not saying he would go steal from people, but like, it's similar to like when we talked about Jack Black, and we're not sure, is Jack Black really acting or is that how he really is?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Jon Hamm is really like this in real life. I have no idea though.
Like his real personality is the personality of the character.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Maybe not with the illegal part, but just
Right, not
overall,
the illegal
he's-
stuff, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna watch it. I have it on my short list of like what I might watch next.
Because you see him in all those Skip commercials, right?
It's crazy. He
And-
does commercials for Skip the Dishes.
And the way he is in those Skip commercials is similar to how he is in this show. He's very like dismissive of everybody. Like, oh, you should have skipped it, you know? And that's how he is in the show too.
I'm gonna give it a try. It looks like a good show actually.
Yeah.
All right, awesome to talk to you about. Well, first of all, it was awesome to hear the resolution for your insurance situation, and it was great talking to you about the White Lotus season 3. And I'll speak to you next time.
Have a great week.